There we go. I always gotta have my shoes off. My socks gets me more relaxed.
Is that what that smell is?
Yep.
Gotcha.
Funyuns.
It smells like a Chuck E. Cheese ball pit right now.
Ugh. I'll show you a ball pit.
Yeah.
He's gonna show us his underwear again.
Yep.
So.
The streaks, man.
Because we're talking about streaks and stuff like that. My son walked out of the bathroom. He walked out, and what really bugged me was my wife was sitting next to me. So you could have asked anyone in the room the question.
Yeah.
But he's like, Dad, do you ever get, when you wipe your butt, when it's nice and slick, like it's nice and smooth wipes? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. Like, what do you mean? He's like, you just wipe and it's just, he's like, it slides really fast. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to keep wiping till it's dry. And he's like, huh, like, all right. And then I look at my wife, I'm like, why didn't he fucking ask you that? Did he see my underwear somewhere?
Women don't poop.
He looked at everybody in the room and he said, this man is the most qualified to answer this question.
My son's like, oh, Dad, I know you shit a lot. So
yeah, there you go.
I see your underwear
Or
streak.
don't shit a lot. Sometimes it's
do.
hit or miss.
But it was funny how...
Or maybe he sees you take really quality shits.
I mean, we're that family. The door is always open. Welcome to Best There Is Podcast. We're back for another week. And to my right hand man, Declan, is here. And the revolving chair is Eddie. Eddie, tell them about your podcast.
What is up, guys? My name is Eddie. I'm the host of the Filmlosophers Podcast, a movie podcast here in Sacramento, based, local, and proud. We talk about movies. We do reviews. We do conversations. Yeah, and I've known you for a good minute now.
Probably close 7-8 years maybe, because I opened 8 years and you came in pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah, I started coming to your shop when I had started a job on that side of town, and I needed something to do because they would give us a full hour break, a lunch break.
That's
so
right. And you would just come and sit around and we would just talk the whole time.
Yeah, and so
Thank
it's
God.
been a minute. It's been since
Back at the
about 8
old
years.
store.
Yeah, you could tell them how nice the old store was. It was really nice.
It was cool. I mean, he had his
Never been
little
to the old
alcove
store.
for the video games, and your kid was running around half naked, and we had this drink machine, this refrigerator up on the shelf.
Better presented.
Yeah.
Now, thank you, COVID, we got smoothed into a smaller spot, but it's fine because that's what made us decide to do the studio thing.
Exactly.
And it all works out. It's crappy times right now. All the stores are having hard times, so.
Yeah,
with our hard times, I'm able to do this in the meantime, so I'm happy with that. But yeah, I'm super excited. I've been trying to get Eddie on for a while. It's just everybody's busy. Now with Revolving Chair, I was like, cool, I could bug Eddie again. And then Eddie, if you guys ever check out new Rockstars, to our 14 watchers, Eddie is it's mainly friends and family, so it's fine.
Hey, it's like
Eddie has been making appearances on them, and the first time I saw it, because I watched them quite a bit, I was like, you son of a bitch. I was like, is that you on fucking new Rockstars right now? You're like, yep. So that's a super cool connection. I don't know whose wiener you're touching or what, but that's
probably all of them. But it's been a really great adventure with this, and to be quite frank, there's some other big things moving hopefully soon. And
you're pregnant?
Yes, 6 months, and it's a turd.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm going to name it Tim.
Timmy the Turd.
Timmy the Turd. I've been with them. I've been with New Rockstars for about 2 years now, helping them out, doing stuff, and then getting opportunities to be on their show, Rogue Theory, getting connected with their producers and so forth. And I actually just had a really big meeting with them not too long ago.
How's all the experiences with them? Because you're dealing with a really well-known, basically YouTube show kind of podcast vibe when they do the Rogue Theories and stuff. How is it like dealing with that? Because for me, it'd be almost so nerve-wracking because it's not like, hey, Eddie, can you come on our show? And you're like, sure. With them, it's kind of like, oh my God, this is because they have, you look at their views are nuts. You know?
Yeah, they got immense amount of views, and their talents are pretty well known nationwide now. I mean, Eric Voss is doing like Eric Voss, who's kind of the face of the company.
Everybody hates Eric Voss in a good way, because you cannot go anywhere without comic movie news without seeing that guy Eric Voss here. So I think everyone hates him in a great way because everyone's like,
I could do that.
He's there. No, not even that. It's just whenever you want to learn something, here's that guy that
Here's
pops
that
up.
guy. Well, I mean, and that mindset's even all the way to like Good Morning America, who's called him out and asked him to come and explain certain Marvel films and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And it's like, hey, and the great thing about Eric is Eric will tell you he's a super humble, super like
He seems like a chill
guy.
dude.
Oh,
but like I told
chill.
you before, I could tell he has to turn it up notches.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you gotta like before this, I'm like, I'm so tired. You gotta be a little bit of for people to pay attention and listen to you. You gotta raise your voice to be heard, basically.
Yeah, and then the dynamic of how we work. I mean, a lot of it is like really family style now. Like everybody knows each other, so when we get the call up, we're like, hey, are you available for this? Let's go ahead and shoot. We're going to shoot this day at this time. Like, okay, cool. You show up. I was like, hey, well, kind of like when coming into Cheers, like everybody knows your names. They're like, hey,
That was my
Brandon,
old
hey,
store.
so and so. There you go.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yep. Dave used to always call it Cheers because everyone knew everyone that walked in. I was very proud of that. I was very proud of the community all knowing each other. That was something to be, especially like a big store, because we were big back then, huge, where a lot of people came in.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. But yeah, with them though, like I said, was it nerve-wracking when you first started getting into it? Because like I said, they're kind of big in my eyes.
I
They're
mean,
huge.
To be honest, I didn't know at first the full scope of how big their reach was until I did like the first video or first two videos, and I was looking at the views, and I'm like, damn, like these were easily hitting 600,000, 700,000 views. And it helped my show as well. So I got to be able to promote my show on that level of infamy. But it was nerve-wracking at the first couple of times because you're looking at these people who are portrayed as, you know, the all-knowing kind of I Ching of Marvel news and nerddom and everything, and throwing out ideas. You feel like you're throwing it out with the best of them. And as I've come to grow with a lot of them, like I've learned on the back end of things, like the behind the scenes, there's a lot of cuts. There's a lot of like pauses, like, hey, let's edit this out, because everybody's just trying to fill out their own knowledge and really see how it pertains to the conversation we have at hand.
And my thing is, me personally, what I'd be thinking is I want to know what you're going to tell me. How are they on cursing? How are they on you giving your ideas? How are they on you, you know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So how long do they let you ramble before they're like, hey, or do you know your boundaries already? And then do you know your boundaries as far as like what you could say and not say?
Yeah, I think a lot of it has come from podcasting itself. I've been podcasting for about 7 years now. So knowing how to create that communication and space, and knowing when I'm seeing someone who's about to kind of carry into the conversation, it's just a lot of like decorum that you already learn in this kind of aspect. So there hasn't ever really been like this large conversation of, hey, when you're doing this, make sure you don't ramble on for about 30 minutes and then we lose. It's just, we're all professionals in that field, and it's more of just like a mutual respect. Like, okay, I'm going to talk, I'll let you go. I try not to talk over.
A lot of times I would notice when you guys do like Rogue Theory, a lot of people, not you, a lot of other people I've seen on there will sit back and wait till they're called on. But there's so many times someone's talking about something, I'm like, damn, I'd want to jump in right there. Like I got a point on that, or co-sign what they're saying, or whatever. So I just feel like I can see two different vibes. I see some people that are ready to go, and some people are just like, I'm gonna wait till they ask me stuff or whatever.
A lot of it depends on like the excitement and the bubbliness of the people right before we go on the show. We're talking, and right before everything goes live, we're like, hey, I'm really excited to talk about this, or hey, I really got some great theories. Okay, well, we'll make sure we'll throw the ball to you right away, or you get a chance.
Damn, so many theories are so off. There's times where I'm like, nope. No, people are saying things. I'm like, that's not going to happen. And some people are on the money, but I mean, for the most part, it is what it is. But
yeah, and a lot of times when I'm on, I don't know if you ever noticed, most of the time.
Oh, I'm waiting for you to talk the whole time. I'm always like, come on, Eddie, get in there.
Well, most of the time, if it's a conversation that I can contribute to pretty well, I'm usually the first one to jump in there, because even like I said, with the wonderful world of editing and all that, it makes it seem like, oh, someone right away. But like sometimes there's space, there's time, and we're like trying to think. But at most times, I really try to kind of get the ball rolling when
I would think Eric would do like what I do when I could tell we're getting like quiet. I try to, even if it's for a second, like I'm like trying to carry on the next part or whatever, because you're trying to, again, like editing us talking like this is a lot harder, I feel like, than editing almost like squares or what. I don't know how to say it. I mean, don't be wrong, their editing process probably takes way longer than us, but how ours looks, you could tell when we cut. You know what I mean? When we do audio, not so much.
Yeah.
Because when I upload it to you, all the podcasts, whatever, it's a lot different because when we cut things out, usually for us to edit this way, I zoom in on something. Someone talking, and then it cuts to the next part, and that means a whole rant where you were using a really, really bad word or something.
Or talk about the Hound or something.
Yes, using the Hound's favorite word or something like that.
Did you ever play? You ever watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah, he says it's so good. We always talk about that.
I never watched that show, but I'm watching clips. Yeah, and I'm really interested.
I told him it's a great show. Then,
and he seems like the best character. Him and Braun. I like the rogues of that universe more than anything. I think those are the most compelling characters.
Far as that though, I mean, or we talk about something too personal about someone's life and we're like, this ain't going in, so that we're able to cut around. So it seems like it'd be like rough, but I guess that's kind of good because you get everyone to speak and then they can pull what they want.
And nobody, so the great thing is nobody gets fully removed from any kind of conversation. I at least I haven't seen on any of the shows I've been a part of. There are times where, like, because the way we have it set up, we utilize this program where we're all present, including the producers, and the producers, they're just not seen in the video recordings.
What do you do it on?
It's called Riverside FM.
Okay.
So, which now is becoming a lot more popular with a lot of folks and trying to do like the multi-person type of podcast visual element. Riverside FM is the one that we use. And it's pretty seamless because everybody essentially records on their own computer. And then I don't know if you guys have ever used Source Connect. Source Connect is another type of podcasting app where, like, if you're in Illinois, you're in Michigan, and I'm out here in Sacramento, we're going to do a podcast. If you guys didn't have software or equipment, we would do Source Connect. All you have to do is just plug whatever mic you have into your computer, and it records it directly to Source Connect, and then Source Connect sends all of that to the main person who's set up the session. So same way with Riverside FM, everybody records, everybody gets their audio recorded, and then obviously we'll do like a clap test to make sure everybody's on time, and then it all gets uploaded
all at the same time. Everybody does
exactly. Boom, 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 boom. And then it just gets all uploaded to the main producer, and they take it from there, and then they do their magic.
So I have a topic at hand that I wanted to talk to you about film wise, because you're all film guy, but I'm so intrigued by this podcast stuff.
It's a lot, like, the nature of podcasting itself has evolved so much just in the last 3 years.
I was gonna say I shouldn't even say podcast because like the Rogue Theory, like you were talking about, that's not really even a podcast.
That's what we call
it feels like
a vodcast, when there's an important emphasis on the visual element of it. It's still mostly talking
because there's no audio element to it, like in terms of, like, there's no audio clips that go out and that's promoted. I
mean, in terms of strictly audio content, things like what is it, visual essays on YouTube and stuff like that, it's mostly just audio with just pictures over it, but it's just gone everywhere nowadays. It's
and that's, I think, once we decided to start up again, but when I used to do it a long time ago with my friend, I said we will put on audio, but I like the idea, and like I think I talked to Eddie about how Howard Stern, Joe Rogan, all them have done things where they're there, but there's something about like me and you yelling at each other and that you see the emotions or you see whatever. It does suck sometimes on audio when that doesn't capture. I've said that to you guys before. I've told them that, him and Lucas, like, dude, like, it kind of sucks because when this happened, I gave you guys a look. No one could see that look. So you kind of got to be aware of a few different things. But the last thing I was going to double check with you what you thought, because I have a little issue with it. What do you think about all these, like, TikTokers and stuff? Like the same TikTokers.
These gosh darn Gen
No, dude, it's the same.
The Zoomers in their TikToks.
It's the same fucking dudes that I see that keep coming up on TikTok. Now I got off TikTok when I was in the hospital, of course.
Healthy for you.
Then I got back on it when we started promoting, but I don't see them pop up anymore because a lot of them I block. They're the ones with the news and the rumors, just like I would do, but I feel like it's half-assed because all they do is turn on their phone and do it. But, you know, dude, they're like 8 of them went to the Spider-Man premiere together. I saw. And I don't like much of them. And it's not because of they're doing what I want to do. Of course, there's a little bit of envy in there. But the main thing is there's not much to what they're doing, and they're not bringing much to the table as far as, like, why am I watching you?
I think here's the good and bad of TikTok. TikTok should not be the final destination. If you're somebody who's up and coming, if you're somebody who has an idea or a vibe or something you want to do, let it start somewhere small like TikTok or Instagram stories. If that's what you're doing, start there, get confident, and then move up. For those people who stay there and use that as their main platform, I mean, you're only going to get the attention of people for 3 minutes out of their day.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't like that content, I will flip right on through.
We all saw Vines. I mean,
Yeah.
but look,
Oh, yeah.
look how many Vine people are acting. Look
Yeah.
how many God, I can't remember the black dude, but he's been appearing in so many movies. Even a Netflix movie that I like with not Adam Levine, Adam from Workaholics.
I know who you're talking about.
Well, anyways, he had like a cool dumb movie that I liked. That was like going back in time dumb movie, but even he was in it as his best friend or whatever. And I'm like, that's all they took. And like, there was a commercial the other day of the angry black dude that he always has a mean face but says like nice things.
Oh yeah,
he's on some like
beautiful.
Yeah. He was on some Crunch Fitness commercial, and I'm like, all you had to do was make a mean face, and it was funny, but that's all you had to do. And
There's Twitch streamers and movies, man.
Oh my God! And see, that was crazy to me. All right,
Yeah.
You watched. I'm sure you watch Free Guy.
Free
right?
Guy, yeah.
Oh my! Do you know who all those people are?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Blew me away.
yep.
Well, first of all,
I bet none of them can act either.
probably not. Dan's been in something before, but my son follows Dan like
Yeah.
religion. We can't watch anything on YouTube while we're going to bed because the next clip that plays will be Dan every night. Hello, everybody.
Oh my gosh.
Dan, and we're gonna do and do you know what
Dude,
always goes to
content tiered for children, man.
dude. We're playing Miles Morales again, and it's like I love Dan. He's a good influence for kids, I think, compared to a bunch of other shows I do not like. But it's crazy because that's nuts.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon. All right, she's got a following. She's a thick young girl. People are gonna follow her. They threw her in there, but there's like what blew my mind is they put Laserbeam in there. And my son watches him, and I'm like, I don't know if I should.
Dude,
do that.
I remember when Laserbeam was making NFL content at like 75K.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was so weird that one day he just flipped, and I was like, this content got weird.
He's
I was
pretty
not ready for
extreme at
this.
times.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Well,
what I'm
and
saying. It's
that's
like,
the nature of the way it's going nowadays because people are starting, like Hollywood is starting to see that this is what this current time frame era, whatever you want to call it, is interested in. This is what grabs their attention, so they'll put it into their movies as much as possible. I don't know if you guys saw the new Scream movie.
No.
But
No.
in the new Scream movie, there's a podcast in there that's talking about. So it's kind of meta, but it's talking about like.
Are you gonna go to Godzilla?
Podcasting and movies, man. That's like way too like we're trying to be relatable. to
Exactly.
nowadays.
And there's this podcast that's in there that I cannot stand. It's called the Dead
Oh,
Meat
an actual podcast is in it?
Yeah.
I thought you meant in the movie they
No.
created a podcast.
A podcast.
Like
But they are being a podcast in the movie.
In the
too.
movie.
within the
yeah.
movie.
They're playing themselves as
They're playing a variation of themselves because it's not the actual podcast. It's called, their main podcast is called the Dead Meat Podcast. Mm-hmm. But in this one, there's some kind of like horror movie review podcast, which is essentially what they are in real life.
Right.
They have no chemistry. They really cannot carry the entire show. They sound so tone deaf in their actual podcast.
I cannot stand that. When I
Yeah.
hear anybody that does, for example, I'll just say like HeroClix, a game we play here. WizKids will give people stuff to open.
Yeah.
And these guys put no effort into lighting, sound, and they're all like, we got this, da, 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 da. And it's just because who they know and
Yeah.
that they're friends with them, right? Then I'm like, why can't we get it? We got the setup. We could do it. We could get multiple cameras, but no. And so it's like dumb that they'll put a person like this in a in a movie.
Oh yeah, I was pissed. I saw that movie and I was like,
What I want to
is
know,
stupid.
was it a good movie?
no.
I figured it was. That's why I kind of skipped
The
it.
movie is so here's the, it's funny. One of the biggest episodes of you guys that I remember listening through entirely was the Toxic Fandom one.
Yeah.
that was
This movie is literally, not metaphorically, not in any sense of like a parable or something. This is literally a movie about toxic fandom,
nice.
and it's
Just bad.
so
it's just,
bad.
It's just Hollywood's interpretation of modern day phenomena. They just don't even understand it, and their understanding of it is so like, it's just the word would be cringe, right?
Yeah.
It's so.
It's like an old guy
It's
showing up
off-white.
with a surfboard in his hand and a backpack with his hat backwards.
Well, it's Steve Buscemi though.
I
What
was
you
just
think?
gonna say.
What's up, my fellow youth?
That's what basically I was going to talk about today is all these filmmakers right now that are so angry at they
Are they angry or are they getting set up by interviewers? We gotta
No.
You gotta realize interviewers set up questions to get a specific response from people.
Oh, he's got notes.
I don't have the notes. I have
He sent me a bunch of stuff. He's like, you gotta do research.
No, I
So
sent him the
was
same thing about the quotes and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of these are people just it seems to me a lot of people are bitter.
Yeah.
And they're like,
You would be too if you were working.
but here's
on
my
something
thing: if these movies are so dumb, and they always say Marvel, but I think they're talking about superhero movies in general. Martin Scorsese isn't that bad about it.
That's what I was gonna say. Is on that list you sent me, there are a couple directors that I respect what the movies they have made, and I respect.
I respect Ridley Scott, but Ridley Scott's quotes are probably the most disgusting ones.
He's the one who's been ramping up lately.
And if you look up his own quotes, he is so into his ego, it's ridiculous.
Can we talk about Roland Emmerich though, and how Roland Emmerich has never made a non-schlock movie ever?
He made Independence Day. He made Godzilla as well.
Schlock. That was the '90s Godzilla or the 2000s Godzilla.
Yeah.
the 90s
Schlock.
Yeah.
99.
He made 2012 schlock.
He made The Day After Tomorrow.
10,000 BC. White House
2012.
White House Down.
White House Down.
Ugh.
And then Independence Day, the sequel. We're not going to talk about that one.
I like in the article you sent me, they credit him as Moonfall's director, and I was like, I remember Moonfall being a relatively okay movie, and then I looked at the rest of the movie, I was like,
So here's the thing.
Yeah, through the lens of knowing that Roland Emmerich directed it, it's like, okay, well, this all makes sense now.
Well, Roland Emmerich directed one of the most blockbuster movies of all time, more than any Marvel movie has ever been. Everybody complains about, all the Marvel movies are just blockbusters.
Here's the crazy thing that I researched about it.
Man.
So he bitched a lot about this, a lot around when his movie came out. Was it Moonfall?
Moonfall? The one recent one?
Yeah, so he was bitching a lot about superheroes then and stuff. He opened up against Jackass, and Jackass destroyed him.
Yeah.
Destroyed him. If you go look at reviews, people understood what Jackass was about.
Well, but even more than that, I mean, looking at that movie, first off, who the hell was the production company? It was some random Chinese named company that I literally...
Hey, no racism here.
No, it's not.
I'm joking.
I just don't... I don't...
They're making Bullet Train, so I mean, they're making movies based off of nations all the time.
No, it had nothing to do with the actual film. It was just the name of the production company that I had never heard of, like some low key. So if you're gonna have somebody who's pretty low key in that tier list of studios, how much did they put behind promotions? How much did they put behind?
See, that's the funny thing is when I was reading through it, that Jackass, they were naming like the top 5 guys, how many followers they have, how much they promoted it, how much Johnny Knoxville, I watch wrestling, crossed over with WWE to promote it. They're saying this guy's mad that he didn't make money, but look how much they busted their ass. And it's Jackass.
Yeah.
But they say it's got such a long following. Fans grew up with them. New fans will accept it because it's funny and dumb. So that's what it's all about. And I think what this comes down to are people are old. Like you're talking about grasping, like...
Scorsese is...
But
he's definitely because Scorsese's last movie was The Irishman.
Irishman from Netflix.
Yeah, I couldn't get to that movie. The movie's slow and boring.
Like
4 hours long.
Like Coppola defends him, but he says everyone's making it like people need to grow up. I don't want to grow up. I'll tell you that much. But
it's a revolving door for me in terms of argument wise, in terms of how they see it. Because there is something that I've been talking about on my show for a while now, and it's the superhero movie oversaturation.
Yep.
And the bubble, as I call it.
Huh?
It's the bubble. That's what I always call it, because it's always going to burst. There's going to be one too many.
One day, it's going to be that one movie that just pushes everybody over the edge, and everyone's going to be on the same plate as soon as that bubble bursts. But it's one of those things where we saw it with Star Wars. There was literally a movie every year, and there was no room for anticipation. I mean, going back to the 80s and 70s when the last Star Wars movies came out, it was like years between them. You look at Indiana Jones, same thing, years between them. Back to the Future. When you had franchises like that were creating movies for longevity, they gave space for anticipation. We're getting 3-4 Marvel movies in this year alone.
Yep.
We had at least a few last year. We have
TV series that are done like movies, to be honest with you.
It feels like every other week there's just the next one's out.
But we eat it up. We love it.
Yeah.
We enjoy it a lot. And so that's the thing is...
It's the gotcha of it. Especially, it's very apparent with the shows.
Yeah.
And I talked to you about this. Marvel Universe in particular is very reliant on the other material at this point, and the shows get you because they work a lot like comic books or manga would, where it's like the cliffhanger at the end of the episode, so you have to watch the next episode. Even if you don't like the show, just the human need to find out what the mystery is will just keep you going, keep you coming back. You know?
And one of the things that I try to do, because it's easy for me to stay in, to coin a phrase, in my bubble. It's easy for me as a fan, as a nerd, as a geek, as somebody who does, you know, all these things with different people and talk about things. Like, it would be easy for me to stay in that bubble and defend it and say, well, you know what, I can't get enough, I need more, blah, blah, blah. But as somebody...
But it's not like you don't watch other things as well, though.
True, but in that same mindset, like, I have to sometimes force myself to step out of that bubble and look on the other side of the conversation and be like, well, like Martin Scorsese, his biggest thing is, you know, he's complaining that, you know, there's no room for any great movies now because everything's filled with, you know, the anticipation for Marvel films, you know, and to his credit, there is a little bit of that. I mean, we look at movies that have come out and the quality, I mean, Moonfall, well, the quality hasn't been exactly where we're used to it. Like, we look pre-2007 and some of the highest grossing films, you know, we had horror movies, we had drama movies, you know, and at the time, if you sat through and you actually looked it up, I mean, there were probably movies that you could remember that really stood out for that year. And now, ever since 2007, 2008, whenever Iron Man came out, probably the highlights for just about every year is a Marvel film. And that's not to say it's a bad thing. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying too is if we are wanting, and I know for me on my end, like as a cinephile, as somebody who loves movies, if I'm looking to continue to educate other folks on like, hey, by the way, have you ever seen classic movies like Casablanca? Have you ever seen movies like, you know, The French Connection, or great movies like X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 blah. How can I shoot people into the right direction for the modern era at movies that are coming out if the pickings are slim and few and far between, you know, and so I have to step outside the bubble sometimes and look at it that way. I mean, of course, I go back to my bubble and I'm talking about.
I just don't get what they're so worried about if they keep pumping out their shit, and like Scott says all his is great. If it's great and stuff, why let them live rent free in your head? Just let them make your movies and don't worry about it. Your fans are going to watch your stuff, and fans are going to want to watch whatever. But I feel like they're almost insulting us in a way, because they're like, because they say that you'd have to be stupid. I think it's dumb for
when
Batman to be in a cape. And you should be a grown up by now, and all these different things I hear, and I'm like,
but then are we, irrespective of or grow up or whatever, they're still making movies for kids. So it's like you got to make movies for every demographic.
Like the Batman that just came out.
They forgot this is a business more than it is an art at this point.
But the Batman that just came out, I could see being Oscar worthy. I can see, again, I told Eddie I'm in the middle how I feel about it. But
Oscars don't mean anything.
To them it does, though.
I get to them, but it's all manufactured in order to get us to care.
The guy that directed Birdman,
Alexander
Inarritu. I always remember his name, Inarritu. He hates, you know, Birdman was kind of like a FU to superhero movies. And he's won, I think, best directing for that year. I think he won for an Oscar. So it matters to them. Yeah,
because but a bunch of old people run the Academy. Yeah. Right?
True.
So they're going to want to watch the movies they want to watch, right? Yeah. It's surprising movies like Tangerine win anything. That was shot on an iPhone, and like that's like crazy. But I think the biggest thing is a lot of these directors, and I think Ridley Scott's an idiot because he's blind to it, even though he has a show, is that all the art comes from TV. We're in a golden era of TV specifically, right?
I mean, everything's come so consumable nowadays. Like you're saying with TV, nowadays, even with TikToks, with YouTube, we live in an age where people want to be able to consume their content in a convenient amount of time. So if you can carve out less than an hour to sit through a really great story, 30 minutes maybe, I mean, that's kind of why I feel like, I don't know if you've noticed lately with more of the Netflix documentaries, they used to be almost more than an hour long each episode. Now they're down to like 30 minutes because they're realizing bite-size, you know, consumable content is the way to go.
And their format's perfectly set up that if you want to just go through it, you can just go through it, you know. But I think
you can skip, like if it's a certain type of documentary, there's ones that you can skip that don't interest you too. Yeah.
But like it's crazy because you got shows like The Boys, which besides it being a superhero thing, is nothing like a superhero thing, and you can analyze the shit out of it as a satirical idea of what modern society is, and like it's totally different than its comic it's comic book thing.
Yeah.
But that show has real art and effort and passion put into it. You know,
there's a lot, and that's what people were saying that people that were defending it were saying, these Marvel, DC, whatever, can be smart, entertaining, whatever. They're not Fast and the Furious like I was talking about earlier today. Have you watched the ninth one?
Oh,
have you watched it?
I don't even. No, I didn't see that one. John Cena.
I watched it the other day, and I want him to watch it with me. I told him I want to have us record it or live stream because there's so many things happen in Fast and the Furious.
Have you seen all the other ones?
Yeah,
I stopped at 5.
Okay.
Well, they're all like everything's questionable, of course.
I mean, the only good one out of all these is the first one.
First one's good. Second, I'm okay with, but all the rest are really
good. The first and third
good.
one are probably the ones I like the most.
I never watched Tokyo Drift. I mean,
because it didn't have anything to do with any of the
it dealt
original
with drifting.
Yeah,
I guess
it's what it's
CGI.
Pretty much. No, but oh my god, just on that conversation alone, I fucking cannot stand the Fast and the Furious franchise. I can't stand the Fast and the Furious franchise. I can't stand the XXX franchise. I can't stand.
I get what they're doing because again, people are going to come. It's just like I like Adam Sandler movies.
I'm pretty sure they are in the theaters.
I like Adam Sandler movies. Everyone hates Adam Sandler movies. I like Adam Sandler. I will go see his bad movies, and I will somehow.
So you'll go see Jack and Jill?
No, Jack and Jill was god awful.
What about Hubie Halloween?
I loved Hubie Halloween.
He likes bad movies.
I can see that.
He likes Power Rangers. He likes the remake of Power Rangers.
Oh, wait, are we talking the movie or are we talking...
The movie, the remake of the movie.
The movie that
the remake?
Yeah. The one from the most recent one.
Oh, I'm sweaty.
Yeah, it's just making sure you're okay.
The one where they have the alien technology and all that, right? With Elizabeth Banks as Rita.
Yeah, as Rita Repulsa. Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
What was the line in that movie?
Was there any?
The red. Yeah, there's one good line.
I spiked. It's you like the part where he slaps the guy and he's like, "You slapped me." He's like, weird, huh?
Weird, huh?
Yeah, you like that part.
That's because it's from that dude from Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
He's.
I thought
that cast was awesome. So screw you guys. But yeah, a lot of the franchises.
He hasn't seen Stranger Things, by the way.
Yeah, I'm a 80s horror.
Another good golden era of TV that
I'm an 80s horror. Everyone tells me I need to watch.
What is it like? This is the 4th season or the 3rd season?
We're on the 4th.
Fourth is about to start, so I plan on trying to watch.
The first 2 seasons are money. The 3rd one was okay, because it kind of goes through like eras of 80s. Mm-hmm. So the first one's like old school 80s. Second one is like right before you hit the John Hughes era. It's kind of the 3rd season is that John Hughes kind of 16 Candles kind of vibe. Right. And then we're gonna get this next one coming up. It's gonna be interesting, but you should check it out.
I'm going to talking about Ridley Scott.
That's what I was saying. Golden Era TV. Ridley Scott is producing a good show.
I've been trying to watch
Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves on HBO.
And it's just, to me, it's like this in the beginning, but I'm catching the drift a little bit because in the beginning I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. But this is the same guy that's like bashing other shit, and I'm like,
that movie was.
But do you know what?
That show's also made on like nothing of a budget. It has like one filter over it, and it's just filmed in the desert. But the writing is great, the acting is great, and it's not big
2
names.
Seasons out already, right?
Yeah, 6 episodes each.
He produced it. I think he might have directed an episode.
It's about I think it's about 45 minutes per episode, not taking into consideration the credits at the end.
Yeah,
but it's fucking out there.
It's
dude.
Disney Plus style, is what you're saying.
Yes, but you would never ever put that on Disney Plus. It's crazy. Have you watched it? You clearly haven't watched it.
I'm aware of it. I haven't had a chance to see it.
It's
so
crazy. If you like high,
if you like getting high.
No, I refer to things like Lord of the Rings high fantasy.
Okay.
I would refer to this as high sci-fi, where there are clear sci-fi concepts. I think the Alien movies, outside of being horror and action movies, are high sci-fi.
Yeah.
Everything's very nothing needs explaining. Nobody needs to explain how the science works because it's all understood.
Yeah, it's just
like magic, right?
Yeah.
Everything's understood. It's like Star Trek is the pinnacle of high science.
Yeah,
high sci-fi. So I mean, if you like that weird stuff and you like a lot of really good practical effects, they do a lot of practical effects that are just really
trippy.
Good.
I gotta check it out.
It's so trippy.
Yeah, it'll send you on a roller coaster for sure.
You cannot do any kind of drugs and watch it.
But I think though. Part of us as consumers for a lot of this content, I think the biggest thing we have to do, because obviously, here's the thing. Yes, they're old. Yes, they are probably stuck in their ways.
That's why I think it's.
What do you consider an old director? I guess
their ages? I looked them all up. They're all about 70 to 80.
Yeah, I was gonna say anybody.
because Denis
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve is how you say the last name. He's only 54, and I mean I've loved his last 3 movies, which were Arrival, Blade Runner, and Dune.
Yeah.
So like. That guy is like
he kind of had a little bit against Marvel too.
But that's what I'm saying. He's I would say on the younger side of directing, and he's easily could take over like the Scorsese role of our generation.
Absolutely, I think the old godheads of directing, I think, are the ones that are really kind of speaking out more, like you're saying with Martin Scorsese, with Ridley Scott. I think though us as fans and like talking heads of our group, of our community, I think one of the things we just need to continue to perpetuate is that, number one, they're not going to change. And if they're not going to change, number two, we're probably not going to change either.
It's just an opinion. Ultimately.
Yeah, it's an opinion. And then going to the consumable part is that also speaks towards, with that mindset, we are capable of separating the content from the creator and just enjoying the content for what it is, leaving out the creators, whatever. Now, obviously, if it's like, oh, fuck, he's a kid diddler or whatever, then obviously you're going to boycott.
I mean, Kevin Spacey ruined like,
oh my God,
some of my favorite movies.
I literally had a conversation the other day with my girlfriend. I'm like, you should see, oh no, Kevin Spacey. But no, you should also, oh shit.
Well, I'm like watching
Baby Driver's
Baby Driver,
a weird
like,
rewatch.
That's my baby. I'm like, no.
Right? In the post context of it all, it's like, what does that mean?
And it sucks because he's such a great actor.
Yeah. I was showing somebody the other day K-Pax.
And I never got into it. Is it good?
Have you seen K-Pax?
No,
It's where he's like an alien, right?
He's like this alien that's come to Earth, and he's trying to explain to this psychologist played by Jeff Bridges that he's not crazy. He's
the
just
dude.
The dude. He's like, I'm just here to visit. I like visiting Earth. I travel on a beam of light and this and that. But the stuff that they start finding out about him, it's like there's partial truth to what he's saying, but there's also some kind of psychosis of the person that is currently there in the room. And so it's a roller coaster kind of ride. But the fact that it's Kevin Spacey, it's like I feel kind of torn and like. I loved this movie growing up. It was one of those movies that you could just turn on and you're like, oh, cool, sci-fi shit.
It's like you can't change it though because it's weird. It's like
he got too involved in the Frank West. What's his name? The guy from House of Cards. He got too involved in being a politician where he got method with it.
Like,
he started
like I said, like
kids.
Chris Benoit, you can't deny he has great matches as a wrestling fan, but it's like he killed his family.
Yeah.
So you don't want to really show people those matches, but when they come on, you're like, oh, it's just weird with all these bad things that happen with famous people.
And I feel like that's because of the severity of the situation, but also the more truth that's coming out about it. And
it feels like we don't even know everything yet.
Exactly.
More and more that's going to come out.
Not even close. You don't even know. We don't even know like 5% of it.
Right.
Yeah. Because like most of the studies haven't fully been fleshed out quite yet. But like I feel like in that sense, like it would be okay. There are great moments for Chris Benoit because it was genuine at the time.
Right.
Whereas Kevin Spacey's
but we don't know where it started.
It started in the 80s.
Yeah.
They
say that with Bryan Singer too.
Bill Cosby.
They said
Bill Cosby, finding out about Bill Cosby ruined a bunch of people's childhood, right? Because that was the father figure, and now, oops.
Yeah.
Well, they said like Bryan Singer would throw parties with just dudes and stuff, and that's how Colossus supposedly got cast. The first Colossus.
The first Colossus.
Yeah. And that's why he didn't get asked to come back to replay him again.
Did you read that article about that one guy who's finally coming forward and telling everybody about his dynamic relationship with
Aaron Carter?
No, I forgot what
I've seen so many videos with Aaron Carter lately pop up on Facebook.
Oh my gosh. No, this guy came out and was like, hey, I had this relationship with Bryan Singer since I was 18.
He was a groomer. He was a horse groomer.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Drake.
And
Drake. What?
They looked at the guy and they showed pictures of the guy when he was that age and he looks like he's 15. And he pretty much goes into like full detail about how as soon as he turned 18, Bryan Singer would invite him over. He would fly him out to L.A. because he was in New York at the time, and this and that. And
I mean, what Bryan Singer did, Usual Suspects. I mean, iconic movie.
Yep.
Cult classic. damn, spiked again. Cult
Dude, that's how
classic.
excited about how
Yeah,
cult
no,
it was.
it's an amazing film, and it's
He's got his
crazy.
energy now.
It's crazy. I'm back my nipples.
Bryan Singer got him going.
Yeah, he diddled. I mean, okay, that might not make it in there. But yeah, so it's just weird
Are
for
we
me.
liable for that?
I don't think so.
Yes, you are.
Cool.
I think I think it's not cool though, because that was the dumbest thing I could say. I think it's not cool what they did. I think it's not cool what they did. I don't like what they did. No,
You
but
think?
what sucks. It's not cool for me.
Yeah.
I love so much of what people have done,
Yeah.
and then they fuck it all up for me.
Yeah, it's the dynamic of you're looking at our history within movies and TV series. I mean, Bryan Singer's known for doing a lot. I mean, same thing with Joss Whedon.
Dude, the Joss Whedon shit, I can't shake, man. I don't want to believe it all because I love Joss Whedon so much.
I mean,
He's also a comic book writer. I
Yeah.
mean, Astonishing X-Men was a great fucking run.
well, and not to mention, I mean, he made one of the most high, how'd you call it?
High sci-fi.
High sci-fi type worlds within Firefly.
Firefly is god tier of a TV show.
Exactly, and he created that. And I was showing my girlfriend's kid, Firefly, and I was like, out of everything that was going on, I'm like, I cannot tell her that Joss Whedon was the creator of this quite yet until we get through it, because I don't want her. She's already knowledgeable about everything that's going on.
Right.
I don't want to have that get in the way of her enjoying a goddamn fantastic.
Well, my
piece
thing
of
is,
cinema.
I know, I don't want to defend him so much, but I feel like a lot did come forward.
I don't want to defend him, but
I feel like a lot did come forward, but I want to hear more like live interviews to hear people's perspective, just
Yeah.
because how much I didn't expect that from him. Like, he was so woman power, even with Buffy and stuff like that, how he wrote
It's
it.
all a facade. It's
It
just
could-
a shield.
It could have been 100%. But like I said, he was so about women, like,
I mean, he
in
created-
a positive way.
He created strong female characters who were very powerful and very dynamic. I mean, between Buffy, you got
Well, they were
Zoe
happy how he brought Kitty Pryde back into the limelight with the Colossus
with the
story.
Colossus storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did a lot. So, it's hard for me to believe, but it does suck because a lot of people, but the people that were coming forward have been not acting as much. So, that made me kind of go, okay, kind of like the Cyborg thing, Cyborg had me kind of on the fence because he's not really getting roles right now, I don't know. It's all weird. It's an all weird thing, but
Well, you just hate the Cyborg guy, so.
no, I don't care for him that much, but his part in that movie made it a better movie.
Yeah. His part in the Zack Snyder cut.
I hate
are
the
we
Zack
gonna-
Snyder cut because it's too fucking long.
When are we
but
going to get
his
the
part
Robert
is in
Ayers
there.
cut of
Suicide Squad. Oh my god.
I'm really afraid that'll be our future.
I think I saw a tweet that they're still trying to get it
I mean,
going.
they will. Sorry, it pisses me off. The Lord of the Rings shows. piss me off.
How old? It's your lady's kid.
Mhm.
How old?
She's 15.
Oh Jesus! I thought I was gonna be around my son's age, like 9 or something.
No.
So my son, speaking of movies and how they're trying to, you said superheroes, they're trying to appeal to kids. This Batman, I don't think is for kids.
No, without a doubt.
Batman in general, in terms of the modern interpretation, is
I've
not for
told-
kids.
I've had families walk in and say, "What Batman do you recommend?" And I'm like, usually the children
Like
Go-
the animated series. You
Go
can
find
animated.
not
is
even the
dark.
anime.
If you
I'd
watch
say
the
Batman
first
the
season-
Brave and the Bold is where you want to turn kids to.
True.
Because
But-
Batman the Brave and the Bold's fucking great.
Comic wise, Batman's a pretty horror murder type mystery.
Yeah.
He used
comic.
guns in the first couple of comics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and killed people, dropping people off of. Yeah,
I mean, I think he kills people now the way he punches them.
I mean, he straight up kills people in Zack Snyder's version of him.
Oh,
just
no doubt.
shooting people.
but like Crystal was like, "You think Logan can see it?" And like, the first opening is Riddler taping the guy's head up.
and beating him.
well, first beating his head in and then taping his head up.
Yeah.
So-
Then I was like, I don't think you can watch this. But do you think that for all these directors that are saying this and that, do you think that movie goes against what they're saying?
In terms of, like,
How they're viewing superhero movies?
I feel like we're getting more to a place where Marvel and possibly DC, if DC can get their shit together, we're
They
starting.
already, you see today they announced they're pushing like everything back.
Oh, did they?
Aquaman, Shazam, everything got pushed back.
Why?
All I know is the only
just
thing I heard was that
announced it.
Black Adam was going to be opening at the same time as Avatar 2. That's what I had heard. That they were
Who's
going to.
gonna? Okay. Who's gonna go see Avatar 2? I'm not.
I'm not.
I don't
It's
know
been
why
how
people
many years?
care.
Almost 10 years.
That movie is only impressive when I watch it because of the special effects at this point. I give zero shits about the plot of that movie.
I think now the special effects have caught up though.
Also, I have a thing for Sigourney Weaver.
Do you?
Yeah.
I mean, Alien 1.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
But I feel like the more and more we're moving and progressing, I think Marvel and the heads over at Marvel like Kevin Feige and all them, they're starting to realize they got to bring up the tier of the quality movie and not just bring another comic book character to life and have an adventure. Like, it's got to have substance. It's got to have some sensibility to it that it can pair up with, you know, any other great movie that's being released at this time. And I feel like we're getting there. Like with Matt Reeves, what he did with the Batman, we talked about it on our show not too long ago, and on the film, and the movie itself is just, it's a masterful work of writing and filmmaking. Like, even the whole efforts of what they did to make the film look like that.
Right. Like,
they filmed it digital and then they ran it on actual physical film and then they reran it digital to get all that kind of
weird focusing and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that added a lot to it.
And for me to get a real 7 Zodiac vibe in a Batman movie was what you kind of want to see.
Detecting.
Yeah, but doesn't mean that
once.
they're going to do it.
Well, it's the first time.
Yeah.
But the fact this Batman I feel so great because this is the best interpretation of a holistic Batman, right?
Yeah.
Is when we get the Dark Knight, like mainly the Dark Knight, right?
Right.
That's a Joker movie.
Yes.
It's a Joker
I've told
Two-Face
everybody
movie.
that's a Joker
It's not a
movie.
Batman movie. None of those movies are really Batman movies because
Yeah.
Batman's very shallow. Like Christian Bale's
I
the
love
Batman,
Christian
the
Bale.
detecting he does is he just uses a computer and it's
Yeah.
like.
Well, this one was weird that he used the contacts. I felt were weird.
Those are cool though because he can share with Zoe Kravitz and
Yeah.
then see through her
But
eyes.
she threw him in the sink.
Mm-hmm.
How did she get the other one later
She
on?
just took it with her.
You think that's what we're going to go with? All right, director's cut.
There you go.
Yeah, I need that scene in the movie for the movie to be good. I need that scene.
Well, it's like the whole like
We're going to start that bring the Reeves cut or whatever.
Ebony Maw. They're like Ebony Maw made they duplicated the Pym particles. That's how they came or whatever. That was a big thing everyone got upset about. But I don't know. Like I said, this is one that I feel like those directors can't really argue against because it feels like more. It's a superhero.
It's more
film,
cinematic.
but it's cinematic.
Yeah.
Can you think of like what were the last like few superhero movies or superhero anything that you think people could take more serious?
Logan.
Oh yeah.
Logan's the biggest example. It's easily in my
How about-
opinion,
how
of
about
all of comic book movies,
how
it's
about
easily.
Peacemaker though.
I
think it had
in
a lot
terms of cinematic, in terms of what we're talking about, in terms of making it to
Yeah.
the Academy.
Are
I
you
think
just
Logan
looking
would have
at-
had the best.
Are you just looking at the way it's filmed for cinematic, or
just in general storytelling wise,
Writing.
all that is Logan is clearly the one that would appeal the most.
I
you
would
could-
have to agree.
But the problem is, with Logan, in some aspect, you could just swap the characters.
Yeah.
But that's what you need to
That's
do
what
to
I
make
told
it
him.
appeal
Out
to
of
the
the problem
Academy.
with Batman is I could swap all these characters out, name them differently, and it'd still be that good.
I don't
of a
think
movie.
so.
I feel like it would.
I don't think so. Because
feel
I
like-
think Gotham as a at this point, Gotham's a
I feel like they
character.
haven't painted Gotham yet. Gotham is a character.
Dude, did you see the fucking house they lived in? That's the weirdest, and it looked so cool. And then that's sort of what I feel like the Batman the animated series did is they gave Gotham that personality of just being
Well, they
weird and gothic.
Yeah,
and,
they emphasized on the whole gothic aesthetic itself in the cartoon, and it emulated every part of it, from not only the way the buildings looked and the cars looked, but also even the way the characters looked and their stature, the way men
Actually-
and women were made.
Maybe it's Tim Burton that probably did it first because that movie came out before, and Tim Burton's is very,
True.
very dirty.
Yeah.
And
And they use
Gotham
his
is
theme
just a
song, too,
shitty
Danny
place to
Elfman's.
live. Gotham's just a shitty place to live.
Dude, rent's gotta be so fucking low there.
Yeah,
And your
but
insurance has to be out of the roof though.
Oh,
But-
hell yeah.
I bet it's like feudal England. They're just throwing shit out the window and
yeah.
just into the streets and
Oh
stuff.
god.
But the fact that like it kind of leaves us in this that movie just leaves you in a position to go anywhere with the universe is nice, and that's what I like about DC now is it looks like they're just gonna do what they want.
Yeah.
Which is the best thing to do. He's like they're just making Shazam 2. Shazam 1
Yeah.
did really well. We're just gonna make Shazam 2. We're just gonna make Black Adam. We're just gonna throw Cyclone in there and Adam Smash in there for no reason alongside I don't know Dr. Fate and Hawkman, and I hope that leads to more stuff
Yeah.
because there's so many cool, weird characters specifically in the DC universe that aren't in the Marvel universe.
Well, that's the problem is Marvel took the risk a long time ago putting like Guardians out there, and DC did nothing like that.
Oh no, they did. They did the Suicide Squad.
But before that,
But before that, no. But I mean, the thing is that
ears are sweaty.
I feel like with the right directors and the right writers, that's why Guardians was so successful and popular, because they had a great visionary with James Gunn and the writing staff who was behind.
How'd you
it.
like the Suicide Squad with James Gunn?
The Suicide
Squad?
Whatever it's called, I don't know.
It was good. I liked it.
I had a lot of issues with it. There's things I did like, but there's a lot of
in comparison to what we were presented prior to, and that's how I have to look at DC. That bubble, going back to what you're saying, that bubble of what DC has come now. Obviously, in comparison to other cinematic films, it's lacking in a lot, as well as even what they're offering in terms of its comic counterpart. It's also lacking, but in terms of what their progression in creating actual engaging and fun cinema, I have to give it to them. They actually did it, and I was engaged in it.
One thing I'll just give to them is they brought Starro to life, and I didn't think they'd ever be able to bring Starro.
It's a Polka Dot Man.
Polka Dot Man was fucking amazing. I mean, he had the best backstory out of the whole fucking thing.
We got like all the weird characters.
Peacemaker, I was upset at the end of it because I was like, he really changed his goofy.
But he's given, and it's shown in Peacemaker though too, that he's just given full.
Well, they needed another thing to fix it for me.
But James Gunn's
I don't like that.
given full run of the universe. Yeah. He can do whatever he wants. He can do no wrong.
And I think that was the biggest part prior to, is that the execs at DC and Warner Brothers were holding so closely to this, hopeful cash cow, that they wanted to make sure what was put out was exactly in their eyes going to be successful. Now that they have a actual capable director, they're looking at somebody, and they saw what they did with Zack Snyder, and mind you, outside of that 4-hour time frame, if it had been cut down to a more palatable maybe 2 hours,
I think somebody's going to cut it. I think somebody's actually going to cut that movie, because if
you just focused a lot on Cyborg in the story,
first off, give me another Snyder cut, but don't put it in a fucking square. Give it to me as a full screen thing.
Unless you're going to give everybody like IMAX size themed, theaters and let them watch it like that, there's no point in doing it that way. If I wanted to see that, go back to the 90s and watch Fox Saturday afternoon movies.
That's the problem with Snyder. He's up his ass too much.
True.
He loves his cinematic weird shots, and I just think once you watch 300, you just have seen every Zack Snyder movie. Because every
Dawn of the Dead's a little different.
There are so many slow-mo shots in and all Batman and Superman, all those movies, just excessive amounts, and these weird turn cameras that look like they should have been done with a dolly system. Instead, they're done digitally and stuff, and it just, and he always puts a weird light on stuff.
Didn't he do Sin City?
No.
I thought he did Sin City.
Let me just look up all of Zack Snyder
I wanted
movies.
to say Robert Rodriguez, but I don't think he did.
Mm-hmm.
That's blowing my mind right now that I can't think of. I'm like, Frank Miller did it, but no.
Oh, I know he did.
That's the writer. Yeah, I don't know.
It's just, it's crazy to me that he made Watchmen, which I really enjoyed, and then he just applied that logic to
everything else,
to DC.
Yeah.
Do you want a blue tint on everything?
Not even, but that movie's way more colorful than any of the DC stuff has ever been, right?
Yeah.
And that, honestly, it's way more comic accurate.
Did you ever watch the Watchmen TV show?
Oh, yeah.
Is it good?
That was fantastic.
Really? Never watched it.
The great thing about the show is that's fully inclusive.
He made the Guardians of Ga'Hoole.
Yeah.
That's right. That's his cinematic masterpiece. Magnum opus.
I thought it's an owl.
It's a CGI movie about owls.
But the great thing about the series, the only season that's out, and it's only one season so far, is that it's a full, complete story. Think of it like anthologically within the Watchmen universe. This is one story, and it's a great story.
But they could easily. I was talking to Ernie. They could easily.
Did you find who directed it?
No, I didn't do it in Sin City.
You might be right.
I don't think it is. But for some reason, I thought it was.
I'm going to doubt myself. I don't think it is.
I was talking to Ernie at this point.
It's just all his people, I think, were in it for some reason.
You could bring the Watchmen stuff into the DC universe at this point. With DC, it's like they can do anything they want.
They're just making. They own all their characters.
They're just making a Green Lantern show. And who do they choose? The fucking weirdest two you could choose, right? They choose.
Who was it?
Alan Scott and Guy Gardner.
It was Frank Miller.
Frank Miller directed it?
Yeah.
That's weird. He wrote it though, right?
Yeah, he also drew it, and I wouldn't have him direct it. That's weird. I was weird.
I mean, he drew what? The Dark Knight Returns? Right?
I'm really trying to think. He wrote them.
Returns.
He wrote them. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, he did draw them. Yeah. I don't like his art at all. He drew
to be
Wolverine,
honest with you,
too.
when they animated it, didn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Looked fine. And honestly, I like the Ben Affleck suit still. There's just something chunky about it, and
he looks like a linebacker, dog.
Chunky.
He looks like he's in a body cast.
He would need to be in that armor to fight parademons. I'm sorry.
Aquaman too.
Dude, hey, I like the Aquaman movie. I
He
think that
fucks
movie's
fish,
actually,
you know that, right?
Fuck you, Barry.
You see the guy on the red carpet asked him,
Yeah.
"Hey," and he's like, "What kind of fish was it?" And he's just like, "Fuck you." Like,
I mean, he came back and like fist bumped the guy.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
"That's
yeah.
good."
Well, you seen that picture of him sneaking up behind Henry Cavill, right?
no, he seems like a guy that enjoys being a superhero, playing the part.
Well, I mean, he
I
just
like
seems like
that
a guy who
movie.
just seems to just enjoy life in general. I mean, the guy's over here posting on his Instagram and whatnot, and he's throwing axes, drinking beer.
I saw
And
that
all he
video.
did was start with riding horses and sacking and raping and pillaging.
Game of Thrones.
No, he's before that. He was on like some space, not space.
Yeah, but what's that?
Babylon 5 or
I'm
some
pretty
shit.
sure that put him on the map, right? He's
Yeah.
Cal Drag.
I mean, it's not like he's great acting in that.
No,
Because it
he's awful.
went from that one to him doing his appearance in Conan, the movie.
And then he fought Stallone with the axe. I forgot, bullet to the head.
He's my current pick for Gideon still. If we had to cast
Planeswalker?
a magic movie.
that would be cool.
I don't know. Who would have knew us back in 95, 98 where we're at now? Like,
Oh, it was a pipe dream, to be honest. Like to see what we saw on TV and all the shows we saw, and
That's right. I was thinking that earlier.
and everything else we had like presented to us as the future. Number one, we're not even close, but we're still further out.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I get you.
And
We made quite the leap forward. Not as much as
Yeah.
we thought, but way more than
it feels like every year it's like
realistically
something
thought.
new.
I-
Back then we waited like 5 years for
My
something.
buddy's
new.
right about CRISPR.
I've learned the game plan though for the next 15, 20 years. Just got to keep watching The Simpsons.
That's 100% accurate.
I am a subscriber to the belief that if you throw enough shit at the wall, it sticks eventually. Like if
so
you throw
that-
enough darts, you'll hit the mark at least once or
That's
twice.
true,
right?
but someone has actually gone the extra
They
mile
went through time.
and actually counted out at least 18 times where the shit stuck really close.
Yeah, it's
And
creepy.
They've
It's
like
really
A lot of Simpsons.
Like-
though.
like Matt Groening either has
He's a TARDIS.
he's either got a TARDIS or he's got some element that lets him see into
Bill
the
and
future.
Ted's phone booth, something.
You know,
DeLorean?
I mean, I don't know, like, because we got the new season of Futurama that's going to
Yeah.
be starting to get
John-
developed.
He already knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
John DiMaggio.
I don't like that he was holding out though.
That he wanted money that he deserved. That he's an artist and an actor like anybody else.
But
That he
that's what
deserves
made you.
pay.
That's what made.
He made the character. The character didn't make him.
I guess.
Get out of here with that. You give no respect to voice actors.
No, I love voice actors.
Clearly not.
But it's nice for them. They just get to show up to work in their pajamas, they say, and they
Yep.
just chill.
Yeah, but
Yep.
they still deserve money like everybody
Yeah,
else.
no, I agree.
And if you feel like you're being underpaid for your role, and
guess.
this guy's Jake the dog. This guy's everybody.
I
Right?
feel like-
Marcus Phoenix.
I feel like voice actors are like porn stars. They have this one part of them that if they fuck up, they'll never be able to work again. So,
I wonder how many insure their voice.
oh, they have to. Like, no doubt, they have to. I know there's a guy in L.A. that I work with for doing some of the VO work with.
Is it
for
the
our podcast.
voice guy? The
John Bailey?
is it?
He's the one who does like honest trailers and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like in a world. That
yeah.
guy, yeah.
He actually is the guy who did our intro for our
I
podcast.
messaged him that he did something, and I was like, "Hey, I think he did my buddy Eddie's intro." He goes, "I do a lot of people's intro." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, he's super busy, and whenever I get a chance, I'll ring him up like, hey, like I actually sent him work with a friend of mine who works for NRG, the esports league.
Mm-hmm.
So I sent him up that way. But like having his stuff, and I forgot my train of thought.
okay, I
No,
lose
voice
mine all the
acting. Yeah,
Cocaine's hell of a drug.
that it is. I know he has his voice insured because he's not only doing stuff regularly for what is it, Screen Rant, but he's also, or whatever channel that is.
I think it's Screen. CinemaSin.
Screen Crush?
I can't remember.
Well,
It's one of the
those.
million.
Yeah, but he also does his VO stuff outside of that for his own
I wonder
personal
how
gain.
one gets into that. I feel like you'd have to be lucky to know the right people and stuff
To get into that.
to get into voice acting and stuff.
Okay, going back full circle. TikTok has this guy who's a voice actor, and he goes, I've been doing this for so long, I figured I'd show people. And he literally goes through like the steps on his TikTok page in different videos of how you can start out as just something that simply fits your regular voice, put it out there on Fiverr, and then move forward from there. And it seems like a legit kind of thing.
My wife just had me do like book reading stuff.
Oh,
And-
yeah, for Audible and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
and
Wait,
I got no emails, so
you can read?
yeah.
I can't imagine.
Playboy.
I can't
I
imagine
can
you
read.
doing any voiceovers or anything.
Penthouse Forum.
I
You gotta
have
not slur.
I have
and
a
you gotta
lisp.
say things correctly.
I have a lisp at times.
He says
certain
things so
words.
incorrectly. It's like he's trying to say them incorrectly.
You know what he could do? He could go on Fiverr as a Seth Rogen impersonator. Or as a yeah.
I could do them all.
Just that.
That's a technical foul. Remember, you're proud of that when I did that.
Foul.
Do you read any leaks and stuff? Because that's really big for me. I like leaks.
Here's the problem. If it's juicy enough, maybe I'll see it, but I try to steer clear.
I'm not going to say anything.
I'm not.
I hate leaks. He always wants to talk
I love
about
it because, like, me and my cousin, who's helped me out on here a couple times, this dude knows comics back and forth. He knows a lot of shit. We grew up together. We're like brothers. So we talk all the time, and he loves it too and he's a big Doctor Strange fan. So Doctor Strange, he basically knows the whole movie now. Me too, because we compared everything. And literally, when the trailer came out, everything we saw happened in the leak. And these are people that spoiled Spider-Man, and everything was right. Someone's working at Marvel fucking them over, basically. But
I mean, if you're going to get paid for it, I mean, people are paying through the nose for information nowadays.
Right.
You know, I don't know if you remember back in the day when what the fuck is his name? He used to go by the name El Mayembe.
is it Doomcock?
I was about to say Doomcock. That's a Star Wars guy. Is the guy who has those Star Wars spoilers? His name is Doomcock. So every time I hear a show talk about the new Doomcock spoilers, I'm like, or like an article that says Doomcock, I'm like, what a...
Well, this
That's
guy,
a dope ass.
this
villain.
guy
I mean, hey, if you're gonna do
he used to have all of the scoops, like legitimate. He used to have so he started out with a website called Latino Movie Review.
Oh, I remember that website.
Yeah, and
I
then
always
he-
thought it was weird that it was called Latino. Like, it didn't.
That's because it's him.
I know, but it felt like I was gonna go to a site that reviewed Latino shit. You know what I mean?
Like in the latest novela, Maria said no. And he went from there to creating.
Telenovela is so bad.
What did he came out with something else after that, another website, and it's still working today. It's still going on. And then he went.
He doesn't get in trouble, caught, anything.
No,
Or he
like
just has a source.
Oh, he's got a solid source that's always like every time he's gone out with a leak, it's always been on the money, and for that time, and then he went to go work for the Wrap. And then I guess the Wrap kind of put a little bit of a lid on him sourcing out stuff like that as much, but he still gets it and he posts it for his other websites or gives it to his other teams to post for their websites.
See, I like it because, again, like I tell everybody, it's like me reading a book, and I can imagine that'd be cool if it happens. Watching it and reading it is two different things for me. Like what I read that happens at the end of Doctor Strange sounds like it would be amazing. If it doesn't happen, whatever. If it does, I'm so excited to see this in live action.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not going to kill me. If it doesn't, it's going to make me excited if it does.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not ruining the movie for me. Like, that's like, I think someone was telling me, my friend Mark was saying that his dad reads the last chapter of the book before he reads the book. And
I'll read the last page.
That's
sometimes.
weird to me, but I get now what they're saying because it's like this build up to how did we get here or whatever. So I guess that's kind of similar. That's how they compared it, but yeah, I don't know.
And I mean, I have to agree with like your logic, you know, it being stated as like in the script, oh, this is how it's supposed to go, and then them actually filming it. I mean, for example, I don't know if you've ever seen the story behind Back to the Future, but
oh my god, yeah,
and so how like it was originally planned in script and how it's gonna
a nuke in the fridge.
a nuke in the and a complete like
Did you know that?
No.
Oh my god.
there was supposed to be this huge like nuclear.
And they held that for an Indiana Jones movie.
Yep, and
You seen that movie?
Thor, the King of the Crystal
Where he
Skull?
saves himself in a fridge?
Yes, I have seen the King.
That's how Marty was gonna send himself back.
Marty.
Yeah.
They were using a fridge, right? A fridge
We
was
gotta go
their-
back.
A fridge, right?
Yeah, it was a fridge.
A fridge was their time machine.
Instead, they fought off terrorists.
Marty.
That's the
DeLorean.
weirdest scene is when they just have like terrorists there. It's like, did
And they
just
go
the
fucking-
United States just let terrorists in back in the fucking 90s?
Yep.
Yeah,
And they
fully
sprayed 'em
automatic.
down.
This is like what, the Clinton era? Clinton was the guy who put the assault rifle ban in
No,
place.
Clinton wasn't there. They talk about
Is it
Reagan.
Bush?
Reagan.
It's Reagan?
Because that's when Doc's
the
like
mo-
the actor.
Doc.
Oh, yeah.
We were in the 80s.
Who's the vice president?
I'm
John
walking
Reagan?
here.
What?
He
That's
did
what
a Rick
his-
and Morty.
That's what his little his son, when he has the long sleeve and they almost hit him in the car, he's like, I'm walking here.
I thought that was the...
That's
oh
a
my
famous
God. Scene of the... I can't
Yeah.
remember what the name of it. He's got the cowboy hat.
Midnight Cowboy.
There we go. And he goes...
Dustin Hoffman.
That's real, though,
Dustin
right?
Hoffman and
He almost gets hit and he
yes.
really doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Just talking about Marty McFly gets me. I love fucking Back to the
Ed-
Futures.
But going back to the whole with Doctor Strange, it's one thing for us to read it and see how they're anticipating it, but once it's in the can, everything's fair game. Like they may change up shit right at the last minute.
Right now, like far as me and him reading things, I think even Declan knows. Like, there's been so many reshoots. Once the 3 Spider-Mans blew everyone's fucking mind, they were like, everyone's ready for nostalgia.
That can we all say we knew about?
Mm-hmm.
Nope, it's like the tightest held secret.
Well,
Andrew Garfield just kept lying about it and lying about it. And we're all
that's
just
why
like,
Ryan Reynolds, they're like, are you in the new Doctor Strange movies? Like, no, I'm not. I can't. No, I'm not in it. And I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, he wants us on Disney Plus. Did you ever see that Free Guy, the trailer they had as Deadpool and Korg watching the trailer?
Yes, it was amazing. Free Guy was pretty good.
Free Guy was good.
I just my wife hyped it way up for me. But she knows I like myself a little bit of Ryan Reynolds.
A little, man.
So then, okay,
that's my idea.
Going back, going back to the conversation about directors and movies and Marvel films, I really feel like with what we're going to be seeing from this year moving forward, we're going to see a higher element of cinematic, quality to a lot of these movies. I mean, if we take a look, we were just mentioning about, the Spider-Man movie. That movie, cinematically, as well as, comic book wise, was fun. It was very enjoyable.
But now, do you think
it's a first ever, right?
Yeah. Do you think cinema, like followers, which I believe I follow really great movies, I think, but that's me. Do you think they would enjoy it, like a movie snob that doesn't like superhero movies?
I feel like we got a really great taste of that in the most recent time. Like going back to your statement, Logan, fucking fantastic. I would put that against any Oscar movie that year and give it that element, because it was just raw, it was real, the writing was perfect. Even visually, the blocking and the filming style was great. Recently, we get that with The Eternals. Now, I didn't like that movie. Personally, I'll be the first to say it. Yeah. I didn't like it.
I still haven't watched
it. It's very slow.
It is very slow.
All these guys keep talking about slow.
It wasn't as bad
boring.
as I thought it was.
But I think it's because everyone downed it so much.
Well, yeah, the level of anticipation for it was not as much there
and
as...
it's all characters that we don't...
It's a nothing burger.
Well, see, that's the thing. That goes back to having a solid director like James Gunn do something where, like with Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody had a clue. It came out and blew it away.
I've told everybody the exact same thing is when you left, you remembered every character's name, and you could have called... I said this, so Declan's going to be like, he said this before. But you could walk out saying, Gamora's my favorite, Drax is my favorite,
Mary Poppins
is my favorite. No one would argue with you because they're all good in their own way.
Yeah. And I think with the film, the directing behind The Eternals, it wasn't as high of a quality as like Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of its engagement, but the story element was there, and there was a lot for people who are used to reading like the old gods and things like that with Jack Kirby and all that with the Eternals. People can find that allurement in the storytelling aspect, and I feel like within cinema, that's something that people feel is lacking most in modern day Marvel films. It's all show, no story. And you take a movie that's got no show and all story, it's going to draw in that particular crowd. Because I know a few people who will argue to the death that The Eternals was a great Marvel film. I don't see what they're talking about.
From what people are saying and talking about, and the cast looks like, it would have been a better TV series.
Like the Inhumans?
Not like the Inhumans, on Disney Plus. Same way I think Winter Soldier... Falcon, I enjoyed it, but I felt like it should have been compressed into a movie, and it would have been a better flow.
Yeah,
because I think the flow was really off for me in that, but I enjoyed it for what it was, and because I love the chemistry of the guys.
Oh yeah.
But I think if you compressed it to a tighter story and made it a movie, it would have been a lot more accepted, I guess you could say.
It would be a lot more easier to consume. Because instead of every week waiting for the episode, you just have this one.
Because there's things that work like that where you can have breaks, and there's things that just don't work like that. And I think Eternals, from what everyone's been saying and how many characters are in it, and you kind of want all them, and it's a lot, right? It's like 10, 12 Eternals in there or some shit.
Not nearly that much.
I think 8 or 9.
At least 8, dude. At least 8.
Yeah, but
Guardians, we got to focus
portion of them aren't
5.
relevant characters, which is the sad part. And they kill one of the most charismatic characters, which is Gilgamesh.
Well, they killed the reason why I would go. I heard Salma Hayek, right?
Yeah, she doesn't really do much in the movie.
I know, but that's gonna bring me there.
Even if they didn't kill her, she doesn't do anything in the movie. So.
You don't see her that often in the movie, other than like flashbacks. I mean, essentially all flashbacks.
Yeah.
The only time you see her in present time is her
I thought
body.
it was weird to do a gender swap with her, especially that they just wanted to get rid of her.
Yeah.
It was just an odd decision for me.
Yeah.
That's all.
But like that is another step towards seeing more Marvel films become cinematic as opposed to just all flash and
See, do you think like DC was trying to do the opposite and just be like, we want to be super cinema? Like,
I
super
feel like in the
cinematic?
beginning DC was just pushing out because they were trying to play the catch-up game with Marvel.
I don't get why they did that.
No, I don't either.
I don't get why make it a race. Like,
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm not the biggest DC fan, but there are characters I love to death.
Absolutely.
Batman, a million times, but everyone's gonna hate any guy that loves Batman. Everyone gets mad about that. I don't know why.
Hey, I like Superman, so.
I hate Superman because
And Aquaman's like my favorite of the main.
I hate Superman because
members.
he's just too perfect. That's all. When he's flawed, like Mark Waid's Birthright, I
Yeah.
believe, that's like one of my favorite books, and he's very flawed in that story.
I liked Superman in the Doomsday Clock series.
Yes,
that
that's
was
good.
that was a good.
But he's just hard. Again, it's hard to relate kind of to the guy, and that's why when they
It's hard to relate to DC heroes in general, even Batman, right?
I mean,
That's why.
we
That's
all
why.
have bad days, right?
So I think it's easier for DC to find its like, it's B and C tier heroes that I think people can glom onto a lot more because they're
Well,
a lot
you're-
more specific.
That's why you're
you
obsessed
know?
with Booster Gold.
But that's what I'm saying. There's a lot more legacy stuff in Marvel, I feel, than there is in DC.
Yeah.
There's like the 20 different versions of people who've been Iron Man, the 20 different versions of people in Cap. But usually it's like Superman, Superboy, and it's usually just those two, right? And then when they do like that to Superman, they have a bunch of different. They're all crazy and weird. And then, like, Booster Gold is such a weird character. He's basically
He's got all the sponsors on him.
well, yeah, he's basically a wannabe superhero from the future, right?
Yeah.
But his relationship specifically with Blue Beetle is also really interesting because Blue Beetle's basically Batman, a lot lighter and a lot more campy. But that relationship is good, and people can glom onto that sort of brotherhood idea.
Yeah.
And like the real pain that Booster feels when Ted gets killed and stuff like that. And then they bring in Jaime Reyes, who is a legacy character, but has nothing to do with the Blue Beetle. And
Yeah.
stuff.
Blue Beetle always reminds me of Arthur from Tick. For some
I
reason.
honestly think the Teen Titans as a group of characters you could probably do more with than either
Justice
New
League?
Mutants
Have you
or
seen the
Young.
show?
Yes, I've seen.
Is it good?
So I've seen out of all of the basically out of all the DC anime, I've seen basically everything.
No, he's talking about the live action.
live-
the live action one.
Yeah.
That one I have not watched.
I've heard mixed.
I heard there was some good stuff and some bad
Yeah.
stuff too, which is the thing. But that's what
the-
frightens me with DC, especially CW stuff.
It's not CW though,
But it feels CW,
Yes,
and that's
it
the
does.
point.
The trailer fucked me up because Robin's like, fuck Batman or something like that in the trailer.
Yeah,
as soon as he said that, it kind of was like, it's not Dick Grayson, dog. Like, that's not a Dick Grayson thing right now, in my mind.
That's a Damien thing.
Yes.
Or a Jason Todd thing.
I love Dave.
Yes.
Jason Todd was brought in. I didn't like the guy that played Jason Todd either. So I was kind of like, whatever. But I don't know. It's
Yeah. Here's to hoping that Marvel continues to put out the quality stuff that they're putting out for fans that they're serving.
And is it bad that stuff's funny? Because
Yeah.
a lot of people hate that.
Some of it's not, though.
Of course, Marvel, like Ragnarok is probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, but Taika
Marvel movies.
Waititi and James Gunn are directors who directorial style flows with what Marvel wants to do. They are colorful directors. They are
But
fun
Ragnarok
directors.
has
They
a
are-
ton of like amusement in it, but it's still a really heart story.
That's
for
what I'm
me.
saying.
Yeah.
But when Taika Waititi writes these, when he writes Jojo Rabbit and stuff like that, they have very
Yeah.
funny parts in the movie, but they have an overall heartfelt.
They know
meaning.
how to balance the heavy emotions with lightheartedness. Like you were saying, Jojo Rabbit is a great example because you have elements in there that are just funny, and you find yourself rolling, and then it cuts to a scene that is just heartbreaking, and then 10 minutes later it cuts to another scene that brings the brevity, the little bit of levity out of it, and creates the good feels vibe instantaneously. And I think people like you were saying, James Gunn and Taika are super nuanced in that way. You know, I mean, if you've ever seen anything previous to Taika before Ragnarok, like he did Hunt for the Wilder People.
He did was it the vampire show?
In the Shadows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and those all have a lot of those elements. I mean, Taika's a great director, and I'm looking forward to everything else he has in store for,
It
Marvel
is nice to
DC.
see this next blend of directors that are kind of stepping up.
Yeah.
That they've done stuff previously, but now they're getting into the big leagues, from the minors to the majors. And it's nice to see that some properties are in good hands now.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Because we're losing those older ones we're talking about. They're getting older.
And they're not wanting to lend their area of expertise, which I think the biggest issue of all of this, with everything that we've talked about, what they've said, I think the biggest crime that is occurring is, instead of them complaining and bashing, why not lend what you know to help make that aspect of cinema better?
And I think, again, that just goes with the ego. People don't want to
like I know people like, older ones like Steven Spielberg, or people like James Cameron, people like, George Lucas. George Lucas is a big name in our.
If you're good at something, never do it for free.
I mean, there's the theory though that the only reason those first 3 Star Wars are any good is because his wife edited it. And
well, the second one wasn't even directed by him.
Yeah, like George Lucas is like an anomaly.
Let's be real. Jeff Filoni.
Dave Filoni.
I was waiting for you guys to correct me. He's like, I know I said that wrong.
Dave Filoni.
He's the one that's saving Star Wars right now.
Well, he's a Star Wars. The key is he is a Star Wars fan more than any other person.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was like, this dude's like a god to Star Wars. Like he broke down and taught me everything.
Yeah.
When he was playing Kanan in Rebels, which Rebels was my.
And between Dave Filoni's nerddom and his passion for wanting great, products coming out of this franchise, Dave Filoni is the type of guy you want at the front end of leading this pack.
Well, look at like Jon Favreau's in. That's another director that steps up huge. But look at that Mandalorian bundle of directors. Bryce
Dallas
Howard. We got Taika Waititi in there.
Robert Rodriguez.
These are the worst episodes. I'm sorry, Robert
Rodriguez episode is so ill. It's so ill.
Did you see? So with Book of Boba, the second to last episode was Dave Filoni. As soon as I heard the last episode was going to be directed by Robert Rodriguez, I'm like, fuck.
It's some dumb shit.
You liked the last episode.
It doesn't mean the spin wasn't weird as fuck. Doesn't mean that the shots weren't weird and the logic didn't make sense. Yeah, Boba, just bring the fucking Rancor in and just destroy the whole city.
All the time he spent away from the palace doing everything else and not even having time working with the Rancor.
We already went there and said
he's just lucky enough to have Baby Yoda there to calm it down.
Like we said, they fucked up by bringing Mando in the middle of the series.
Yeah,
you needed to just focus on Boba and not bring Mando. Mando takes it all the way. You can't, like I said, bring Jordan in when Pippin's doing the whole thing. We're watching Pippin and Jordan shows up, and you're like, all right, all the tension got away from him.
Dave Filoni just knows what's good about Star Wars, though.
Absolutely,
and it's the universe.
Yeah,
because that could have been easily in the beginning of Mandalorian's next season. Easily.
Yes. No one's going to argue with that. That's been said a million times on the internet.
I still enjoyed the season. I'm not going to shit on Boba like everyone does. I enjoyed it. The ending was a little lackluster. I thought something bigger. Cad Bane better not be fucking dead, because that was a waste of a character. I was really upset about that. I'd rather lose to Marshall, even though I love Timothy Elephant.
Timothy Dalton is the guy who played James Bond.
Okay. Who am I talking about?
Elephant.
Timothy Elephant.
Oliphant.
Oliphant. At least said elephant, because I said dolphin and then you went to elephant.
Timothy Dalton was also the guy who was in The Quest, that movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Don't know it.
You've never seen The Quest?
No, I think I've heard of it, but Jean-Claude, I stay away from. Only Street Fighter allowed in this household.
Oh, wow. I actually just did an episode on the 34th anniversary of Bloodsport the other day.
Ooh, dude, my dad let me watch it when I was young. Dude, I loved it so much. Just like Chung. What's his name? No, it's not Chung Li.
Chung Li.
Chung Li?
Yeah.
It is? Dude, so swollen. You are next. Like, me and my dad used to quote the shit out of that. And then he does the whole dumb, his eyes, and he's blinded.
Dude, we should watch Gymkata.
What's Gymkata?
You guys ever you've never heard of Gymkata?
No.
It's the gymnastics martial arts. They get a gold medalist gymnast to do martial arts. He does
I told you,
he's like surrounded by people, and there's just a convenient pommel horse shaped
and he just starts
spinning around.
Dude, like,
you know what you should watch? You should watch Equilibrium.
I love
that movie
because I like it more of the
gun kata.
I like it more because of society issue.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I know what our teacher made us watch Equilibrium. That movie is
because it's about the pills.
He doesn't want to kill a dog at one point.
It's about him stopping to take the pills that makes us not.
Puts him in the.
It takes away the emotional aspect of it
because we're not supposed to have any joy in culture, art type everything. So everything's.
It's supposed to tamper down the emotions that cause people to create.
It's really
chaos.
weird, but it's the gunfighting is pretty good and fun.
Gun kata.
Well, the Black Ranger does hip hop keto. All right, when he fights, he dances. And I used to think it was a
Kamen Rider has a gun.
When I was young, I thought that was a thing, and I was ready for classes. All right, Just putting it out there.
Like it's like Capoeira or something.
I just think of Bob's Burgers.
I was gonna say I pooped myself.
Oh yeah, there's that.
Also, Eddie from Tekken does Capoeira.
There's that video of the
Eddie
girl that
Gordo.
tries to teach you hip hop. She's like
That white lady.
yeah,
like,
and then they put
No, she teaches you freestyle hip hop dance.
and then they made that a character in Bob's Burgers, and she's like trying to teach them. It's so fucking.
That's still one of the
good.
best episodes of Archer too, though. Is when he wakes
What?
up as Bob.
There was a
Linda, I don't know
There
what
was a
these guys are
Family
doing.
Guy episode that they had. Because he does the voice of the clerk. I think they're like,
Yes.
do your best impression of Archer.
He also does the master in Venture Brothers.
Yep.
do your voice of Archer. All right, and it's just funny because they're like, and then Peter's like, all right, that's pretty good, and it's just hella funny. But it's funny because I love that fucking dude, even though he looks nothing like how I picture him every time I see him.
Okay, now that we got another Futurama, though, can we get another Venture Brothers season?
Dude, I left. I told you when they were cloning him, I left.
There's still a bunch of good stuff after that. It's really not when the show goes down.
I literally had somebody Dropbox me every episode, every season, and was like, "You need to watch this."
Did you watch it all?
I got through halfway. I didn't get to finish it.
How'd you like it?
It was good. It's
It's hit and miss for me, but
Yeah.
like you have to really.
You have to like Johnny Quest. And
Yes,
that kind of
that's
stuff.
that's
and
the
that's
thing. I was just about to say that.
I grew up on Boomerang, and we go to our cabin during the winter, and the
Boomerang.
only thing you could watch up there, only kids' TV up there was
go up to your
Boomerang.
cabin.
So a cabin in the woods.
Privilege.
No, we used to go to a cabin. Now we just own a house,
And then the parents go to a cabin when they want
and
to get
you're
away.
not invited.
I've asked them.
You
to
can
go
be
to the cabin.
invited.
Thank you. I would appreciate
But
that.
Ernie's not.
I've
invited.
asked them about the cabin many times, but him and his boys go up there.
Yeah.
Imagine doing an episode up there
I know, and then imagine
during
writing
Halloween time.
and
We
writing.
do a bonfire, but so
I'm gonna write a
sit around
novel
fire.
and lose my mind.
I'm gonna break your legs.
No, that's misery. I'm gonna be
Oh.
The Shining.
Oh,
Oh, I was thinking. Yeah, okay.
I guess we were thinking the same.
Yeah, we were in the
writer,
same
right?
area.
I was thinking you were gonna go in the direction of Evil Dead. You
No.
found a book and
You went to a cooler place.
Let's
than
just
both of
make
us.
our own lighthouse. Or we have you ever seen Lighthouse?
No.
Or was it The Lighthouse?
The
Why don't we just do
Lighthouse.
a
Yes.
Goosebumps episode?
No, The Lighthouse is the one where Willem Dafoe and Robert
Willem Dafoe and
Pattinson
Robert
go
Pattinson.
crazy.
what?
I have to watch.
I think there's a scene where Willem Dafoe jacks off, right? Yeah.
No,
You
I
see
really
his
have to see-
weirdly his confusingly large penis.
I don't know how many podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, he always has to talk about how big his dick is.
Dude, do you not know the story from the movie The Antichrist?
Yeah.
That's what he tells me all
they
the
had to
time.
get a dick double because
Because it was too big.
It's confusingly large. What does confusingly large mean? Does it have like a huge tip and a very skinny? Like, is it? Because
It's got an umbrella going out down there.
I
to be
will
honest,
not
we've all
be
seen
intimi-
porn. We all know what big dicks look like.
I
but
will not
I've
be
never seen a
intimidated.
confusingly large penis,
If it's slim, like a slim cigarette, I'm not gonna be
like
intimidated.
a Virginia Slim.
But if it comes out like a thick fucking like
It's just like this thing.
fucking
it's like a
sandworm
salami.
from fucking Dune.
It's like, why are you
A
holding your sub sandwich? Oh, wait.
Yeah.
We refer to those as shy halud,
Okay, if it looks like a Shiloh hood circumcised,
not Shia LaBeouf.
I would be very, very jelly. But it's just weird to me because he's such a weird guy. He was actually trying
Dude,
to.
he's got drip though. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
He was trying to pitch a new joke. He wants to be Joker, and I'm like, ugh, you just paint his face, and he is.
He is, yeah, pretty much.
He wants to be like a
They
copycat.
could have just painted him face, threw some ears on him, and throw a hat on him. He could have just been Green Goblin. But
I know.
no, they had to put a biker helmet on
It
him.
was.
Yeah.
It's Did you ever see the animatronic face they
Oh,
had
yeah.
for that?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
incredible.
It's amazing.
Should have just used that, but no.
Yeah.
I've been trying to find the Evil Dead, by the way, because I've heard there's a million versions of it. I want to find the original version. There's like a million edits of it and stuff.
No joke. I have in my car right now the actual director's cut version on DVD, not Blu-ray, on
That's
DVD
funny.
in the back of my car right now. I have been trying
It's
to.
been cursed, and he can never leave it. He can never take it out.
That's why I've had to have like 3 different cars in the last year. It's always in the back seat. So
every time. I thought, where? What? Huh?
like I thought I put it in my room.
Jesus!
Just the Final Destination stuff keeps happening to you. Almost keep dying.
Exactly. I looked at it today. I opened the back of my trunk and I looked at it. I'm like,
Why do you have it back there?
A hand starts coming.
I have stuff in the back of my car that I gotta put somewhere in storage. I got like
I mean, when you
I got
dead
a box
body
of
rotting,
Funko Pops, and I got these tiki cups and all that kind of stuff. And
what the fuck's going on in your
yeah,
life?
I got
Tiki cups,
heck
pops.
yeah. I got
Walking Dead.
I have the Jaws
Harmony.
Mondo special edition tiki cup where it's literally the shark coming out in the mouth. It has like a swizzle stick, which has like the lady who's swimming across on the poster.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
Yeah. So that's in the back of the car. I got you.
So you just have one DVD in the back.
Along with some comic books, but it's literally sitting on top of everything.
Interesting.
Is
that hard copy to find?
Yeah.
Last bit, whatever. We have fun, but I honestly want to
fun throwing shit.
We have fun here. We have good times. I honestly want to know, what do you think? Far as you've seen a lot of our videos.
Yeah.
You see me. I mean, to be fair, nothing against Lucas. Lucas was
not to backhand Lucas.
No,
but-
Lucas is still with us to do a lot of our.
God rest his soul.
He's with us for a lot of the YouTube videos that we film for the fun stuff, the challenges, and do dumb things with everybody. But he was mainly for our tech. He knew a lot about camera work. He does a lot of music, so he's the one that hooked everything up, bought a lot of stuff, helped us out, and taught us how to do it. But he was kind of just the middle guy to kind of agree or disagree basically on our opinions of things or how we're viewing it.
Me and Ernie are very opinionated.
Yes, we talk and argue all the time.
I know.
But
we talk for 4 hours.
But Declan at least has stuff to bring to the table far as like history. He knows a lot of like shit that I don't give a fuck about.
Yeah.
Dumb animal stuff that I don't give a fuck about. And then there's
ejaculating in eyes.
There's me that wants to talk about all kinds of sex stuff, and then I have the repertoire of
sex master Ernie.
Yeah, superheroes as well, comics, movies. Like I watch a ton of older movies and stuff like that. So we bring stuff to the table. But Lucas was he
never brought anything to the table. It was just a waste of space.
What he brought was, when we were presenting our points, he was the one that kind of went on one or the other side. But now it's a little different. Now we've been adding people in, but like I'm wondering what advice you have for us, since you're growing. Clearly, you said big things are coming to you. Your turd, Timmy.
There you go. Yeah.
But what do you think we should do? What should we do differently? What should we do?
I feel like
to grow.
I feel like first things first.
You guys both need to be off the podcast.
No, actually, quite the opposite. I was going to say, from your guys' first episodes till now, you guys have grown. You've grown, Declan. I've been listening to you. One of the things I told Ernie early on is I'm like
a flower.
I was like, at first, I was like, this dude's too argumentative. He's just this and that. But over the time,
everyone hated Declan, dude.
No, I didn't hate him. I just figured he's
but in the beginning, everybody would message me, or
such a hater.
My family would be like, that guy's an asshole. But I said, that's why I like him on the show. I go, because I want there to be I can't have someone agreeing with me about everything.
Yeah.
And Declan does agree at times with me, but there has to be some times where we have different perspectives. Just like Batman, I told him, hey, I'm not going to talk to you about Batman. And I told him, I think yesterday, I was like, did you notice I haven't brought up Batman to you? Because I didn't want us to really get into it but then that night you kept asking me things. But he's like, how do you hate on something and I don't? And I'm like, I'm not hating on it. I just have a different view of it. But it brings out.
Well, it was like the conversation we were having, was it yesterday or today, about Batman as well?
Yeah, I was like, I think it was a couple days ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was in text. But you never text me back, so I don't want to do finish.
but
anyways, go ahead. You're praising Declan.
Well, so I feel like there's growth on his part. I give you that. And there's growth on your part as a host. One of the biggest things that we as podcasters tend to do when we feel like we're at a place where we're complacent is we stop growing. You guys keep growing, keep stretching your repertoire in terms of what you know and how you present it, and in terms of the way the show goes. I mean, you're I've been telling you, your next third consistent is gonna come in time, but if you guys have your dynamic down, that third person is gonna be able to just slide right in and fit with the group.
Well, like my thing is, like, I've talked about probably people I'm close with, like Declan, my wife. Declan, because of course the show.
Declan, my wife. Like I'm your wife.
Well, no, Declan,
my wife.
Can I be your podcast wife?
Everyone gets. You're all I have right now.
Damn straight, all you ever.
That used to be the ongoing joke. Lucas always laughed. I always went my wife, but with Declan, I've explained it to my wife that, like, I take this very serious.
Yeah.
Like, much as I fuck around and joke, I look forward to this.
Hey, you mentioned that to me.
I look forward to this every week. It's a lot of fucking work. Tiring. I edit it. I try to do social media stuff with it. But the thing is, I worry about my age. I don't want to hit somewhere good in 10 years.
Yeah.
Because I am getting older. I want to enjoy it soon.
Yeah.
And that's maybe selfish of me, but I started in this game, I feel, a lot older than I should have. But it was always my platform to own a store and have that as my, I guess, Chainsaw and Bob stash.
Yeah.
But build on top of that. That was never, I told everybody, that was never my end game. My end game is to do a podcast. Then I want to entertain. And then I want to get to the point, like I said, I don't care. I want to be able to talk about the things I love, but also be able to have some kind of respect within the community.
Yeah.
Like, I think me and you've talked too about like how Chris Hardwick became like the
Yeah.
god of nerds, but he's not.
Yeah.
And that'd be cool to fill in that role where you talk about the boys afterwards, or
Yeah.
you talk about, you know, even if you're on a better podcast or something like that. I wouldn't mind having your name in the culture of it, but it's nice to not be the famous where you're getting stopped by paparazzi,
Yeah.
but famous enough where people respect your opinions or they want to hear what you're going to say about it. That's always my goal. So my thing is, I'm worried that, you know, and everyone has told me, even Lucas, you're rushing. You need to calm down, because I'll be mad at numbers. I'll look at this and be mad and be like, we need to change this. And it's hard to look at, you know, a great episode that when I edit, these guys all don't get it. I listen through it all purposely. I'll re-listen to it after I'm done, because I want to hear what we need to work on. I feel like fucking Cool Runnings.
Yeah.
The main guy stays home and doesn't go out clubbing. He has to remember the turns and stuff. I feel like I'm sitting there and trying to learn everything I can about what we did wrong. We went off track here. I spiked the mic here, you know, whatever. So all these little things I need to look for to get better. But then it's like, okay, we could be maybe our best, but is that going to be good enough to go anywhere? Because everyone and their mom does podcasts.
Yeah.
But I told Declan and Lucas from the beginning, I go, we offer something different. I go, I don't know what it is, and I'm not trying to toot our own horns, but when we talk and we have way different backgrounds from where we come from.
Yeah.
We have similar interests, but we don't sit here and just that vibe that a lot of people don't like that do podcasts, where they do have some displays or they have their pops all over, and then they're always like, super cool, man, super cool. Yep, this movie, whatever.
Red Letter Media does the greatest parody of that.
Regular Media does make fun of that. I never wanted us to fall into that. I wanted us to be us, and that's why I think I talked to you about. Like, I'm worried that if we ever went somewhere, or we got opportunities, you might have to suck it up and not be yourself.
Yeah.
But I think that sucks. But I think ultimately, you know, Declan's in a area where he's like, if it happens, it happens. But I'm not gonna put my life into it. Me, I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
And that's what my wife's always like, just do yourself. I'm like, you have no idea that you can't be a one-man show really and get that big of a pump. You gotta have people around, and the support and having like your connections and stuff like that. Having connections like that make it so much easier too.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm just trying to figure out where do we go. You know, I try to do different video things on our own YouTube page, but on those ones I just some I just give up on and just can them, and I get rid of them.
Yeah.
Because if it's not working. Like, we used to do a lot of gaming. Me and Lucas would go online. We would play. It's kind of funny. But then I realized we're spreading into a whole different spectrum, I guess. Because let's cut that. I was doing a lot of like recording HeroClix gameplay, Magic gameplay. And then it just changed to, you know what, fuck it. We're doing Best as Entertainment. We're just going to entertain in the way of us hanging out as a group, having fun, the podcast people, and dealing with the pop culture type world and stuff. Even though games and stuff fall into that, let's wait until maybe one day we're big enough that we could just start a gaming channel or whatever. And I don't have to run it. Maybe someone else can run it and they can upload their content as far as gaming and all that stuff. But that's like my goals. But like I said, like I'm just more wondering, because you've extremely grown since I've known you and since you've done stuff. And even now, do you have a team with you?
In terms of
who you work with when you work and all that.
Aside from so in terms of like the production for the podcast, I do everything. So I do setup, I do Lucas's part, I do the production, I do the producing in time. Like I'm regularly,
and you work, right?
Yeah, and I work.
Yeah, so
I do all the copywriting.
I can't complain.
I do all the copywriting. I do all the postings. I do all the schedulings. I do all the social media.
Now, and you have a team of people that talk with you too?
I have a rotating team.
Gotcha.
So right now there's 3 of us consistently. The hardcore is that there's 2 of us.
Okay.
And that's where we're at. Because we lost Chad when he moved away after he got married. But within the dynamic of the two, I've learned to, number one, delegate, whether if it's physical work or actual technical work. I've learned to delegate to my co-host or whoever else is our third. And everybody who I bring in that's a third are people that I trust who know some facet of this to be able to set up.
Mm-hmm.
So like the mics, the everything. So it's I think going back to something you had said earlier, the first thing that you have to start recognizing for yourself is, before anything else, you have to make sure you're enjoying what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you enjoy it, then things will come in time. I've been podcasting for 5 years before I even got an opportunity to go elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and aside from working with Video Game Bang and that platform,
are they still around now?
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel like I haven't checked up on them in a while.
I don't know. They still get a pretty good amount because we share analytics on the same hosting platform, and they're still rising up there. But even outside of that, like, I didn't get a really great shot outside of doing just my podcast until like 2 years ago, and that's 5 years in.
Right.
But it was because I loved what I do. I shared that passion on the show, and I made sure the people I talked to knew I do this because it's my passion. It's my love. I would love to do it full time. Like, plain and simple, if I could get a Patreon going and getting $2,000-$3,000 a month to cover all expenses and whatnot, and I'd be cool. I'm making it off of the expenses.
I tell everybody, like, I want to bring you to the dinner table, make sure everybody eats. Like, I want to get to that point. Even the guys that help us out with challenges that show up all the time, that eat the hot chips that are dying, for the hilarity of the videos. Like, we just did a Valentine's Day. They had to draw an artsy vagina. And we had 4 women vote on which one they liked the best. And it was really entertaining because while they were painting, I kept reading off vagina facts and talking about vaginas. Yeah. So all these people are like cousins, good friends, you know, people like that. And I want eventually to
compensate them,
to be a channel and take care of people, and that would be a long ways to take care of everybody. But at first, it's going to be me and Declan are the first that are going to be the ones that get paid or compensated if we get to that point. But that's the thing is, it being a passion, it's crazy to say, but it's work. And people don't get that. People think you're doing it for fun, as in the aspect of we're just fucking around. Yeah, I'm having fun. Yeah, I look forward, like I told them, I would have breakdowns, with these guys and one-on-one with them about, my week. It makes my week sometimes, where I look forward to hanging out with them, laughing, talking about things. But it's definitely still a job. And, and if I didn't love it, I wouldn't be up till 3 a.m. editing. I wouldn't be cutting things and, doing thumbnails and all this kind of stuff. So even though you're like, oh, this is work, you still got to know that you're doing it for the love of it. Yeah, and absolutely. So like I said, we're just trying to find our next building block, or I'm trying to find our next building block, because no matter what, me and Declan are going to be sitting here every Wednesday or Tuesday doing what we do. Yeah. But it's just like, are we going to keep just doing this every Wednesday and Tuesday and that's it? Or is this actually going to go somewhere, And
I think the biggest thing for you guys is just remain consistent in your abilities, but never stop growing in your capability. Because, like I said, from the time you guys started till now, you guys are light years away from where you were, but you're still light years away from where you want to be. And that's the journey of it. No one ever thought that you could jump from point A to here, and yet you're here. And now it's like, well, if this is possible, that next jump, how much more are we going to be growing? How much more are we going to be further along? And it's just in time. Like, to be honest, a lot of it is that waiting game. A lot of it is having the opportunity and just continuing to put out a quality product, a quality episode, a quality, challenge video, or, whatever, and making yourself known, to the masses.
You know how the masses can know about us, Ernie?
What?
They can go on our social media and like and subscribe.
There you go.
Pull the lever. Pull the lever. So where can they find us, Ernie? And what should they do?
Cusco's poison.
Wrap up the fucking podcast, brother.
Oh, brother.
Facebook.com/.
In my butt.
There you go.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Get GoDaddy.com.
There you go. Get a little Danica Patrick action.
Hell yeah.
Well, this was all a fun, good time. I'm so happy Eddie came here, and I thank
Thanks
him
coming by, Eddie.
for
Yeah, thanks
all
for having
the freaking
Putting up with our crap.
advice. I know we may not be like the most polite and organized and professional podcast, I guess, compared to what this
your words, not mine.
compared to this what this all-star sees.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm glad he took time out of his
Flattering me.
busy famous schedule to are you even able to say when you're gonna be on New Rockstars again?
I'll be on this week, so the episode drops Friday.
Check that out.
So this week, and we drop ours on Friday.
And you know what? He's the first guest that we can let him do his own plugs too.
Well, no, we've had a couple people plug their stuff, but they're just not at his level yet. He's on something that I watch like weekly.
So let him do his plugs then.
He did do his plug, but to be honest, his plug's gonna work on the show he's going on.
Yeah.
It's more for us for him to go, oh, by the way, Best There Is a podcast for us, but I don't think they're gonna allow that. That's the one, the parts he talks about editing out, that's would be editing out.
I also have a podcast. I don't know if you know. I can plug that too.
That's what I'm saying.
But like
Let him do the plug.
But like I said,
You act like that's.
but like I said, that gets plugged for him at New Rockstars,
Yeah.
and that's where he's going to be heard.
Yeah.
Our 14 viewers.
Yeah,
are
we'll
not
throw a couple subscribers.
Thanks.
your
I
way.
appreciate it.
Don't worry
maybe
about
my
it.
dad will sub to you. I don't know. I always mess up on the name too. It's like Filmlosophers.
Filmlosophers.
Filmlosophers or
Filmlosophers.
Filmlosophers.
Okay, because I always butcher it.
Yeah.
Filmlosophers.
Yeah.
Filmlosophers. See,
I mean,
look at
we're everywhere where you can find podcasts. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Libsyn, Player FM, Audio Boom, Spotify, Pandora, TuneIn.
damn.
Okay, who the hell is using Pandora for podcasts?
People do.
Recently, they just
People
started
do.
doing
Oh
it.
my god.
The application was hell to put through too, but
Was
it
it?
worked. Oh yeah. But yeah.
So see, he's everywhere. He's everywhere. But like I said, when he goes on those bigger shows, that's where they're going to hear about it.
So the
Like,
plugs matter.
It matters.
It matters to me. Your audience needs to know.
It matters for my dad and maybe your friend or
They don't watch it anymore.
Lucas's
I've given up
coworker.
on the idea that.
But yeah, I don't know. I just want to keep Eddie around, so I keep.
Well,
I keep.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, Declan. I'm going to let you know. I've been telling him for the last year and a half, I'm available. I will make the time because of how long I've known Ernie and because of how much I appreciate Ernie. I told him, you just tell me when and I will be here. So this was the first time
I know.
that he's actually reached out, and I said, I will do it because I know you got an empty third chair.
Well, in my,
But I told you before, I said, anytime you need me for whatever, you give me a call.
I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I feel like we're a little too low for you.
Here's the thing, and I'm saying it in front of Declan, as witness. You let me know anytime you need help or you need a third chair, I will make the time available. Okay? That's my promise. I'm saying that too for here. So it's digitally on record.
All right, so I guess that part has to stay. But anyways, thank you, Eddie, for coming in.
Yep.
Declan for just being here, I guess.
Can I say it now?
And make sure you
Can I
guys
say it?
make sure you like, subscribe, share
Let
if you
me
watch it.
say
Check out all our other fun content. Make sure you guys check out Eddie's stuff. Filmlosophers. Filmlosophers.
There you go.
Yeah, and check out everything. Check out everything. There's a bunch of crap out there, and we all rock. So keep checking out all of our stuff.
That we do.
Declan, say something stupid.
That's a podcast.